Using urine as a mouthwash was a practice that shockingly existed in many cultures for centuries, from medieval Europe to China and ancient Rome. The idea was that since urine was considered sterile and antiseptic, it would not only kill germs and bacteria in the mouth, but also that the ammonia and other compounds would whiten teeth. Surprisingly, while common folk usually used their own urine for these purposes, the wealthy elite used urine from public toilets. Collecting your own urine to rinse your mouth is one thing, but using a stranger's urine? No, thank you. So when those wealthy Roman elites went to public toilets to scoop buckets of urine for cleaning, they took an extra bottle to the bathroom to rinse their mouths before bed. The famous Roman Stoic philosopher Seneca was a known advocate of this. While many know his profound truths, like every man is as miserable as he thinks he is, it's also important to remember the less famous, but equally important. I love to rinse my mouth with urine, and not just my own. 2. Pig toilets. When there's not enough food, not enough resources to run a household, and a problem with waste disposal, ancient Chinese ingenuity presented a solution. Pig toilets. This was a revolting invention that allowed the recycling of human waste. A pig toilet was a combination of a human toilet and a pigsty. The basic model looked like this. A toilet shed was installed above the pigsty with a pipe or chute connecting them. When people used the toilet, their waste was directed down into the pigsty, where the pigs consumed the feces as part of their regular diet. Delicious. The pigs' digestive systems allowed them to further break down the waste, which could then be used as fertilizer. For a balanced diet, other food scraps were also tossed to the pigs. Pig toilets were effective in what they aimed to achieve, but they had their drawbacks. The obvious ones were the horrific smell and animal welfare issues. Then there were questions about how safe the system really was. If all the human waste wasn't eaten, it could end up contaminating groundwater. There was also the potential for disease spread, as pigs and humans using the pig toilets were constantly in close proximity. Parasitic infections created an endless cycle. Imagine someone contracting a parasite using the pig toilet, the pig consuming the human waste with the parasite, then the pig being killed and eaten, and the parasite returning to the original host or moving to a new one. The cycle of life, how beautiful it is. To my surprise, such devices were found in some parts of Asia as recently as the early 2000s. I have many questions. Do the pigs know what's really happening? Are they excited when they see someone entering that toilet? 3. Boy egg. The Chinese were all about saving water. When boiling eggs, why use fresh spring water when you could use urine? But not just any urine, only that of boys under 12 years old, as through trial and error, they determined that their urine worked best. This delicacy was proudly named Tongzi Dan, which translates to boy egg. The recipe is simple. Collect the urine, immerse the eggs, and bring it to a boil. Then, remove the eggs and slightly crack the shells so the liquid could seep inside and give the egg a distinctive flavor. After the initial tasting, you could continue the process, put the eggs back into the liquid, and boil them all day until the taste was sufficiently rich and full. 4. Roman toilet brushes. This sounds not too bad and even quite hygienic, doesn't it? Well, it really was about brushes, but they weren't for cleaning toilets, which weren't frequently cleaned anyway, but for wiping one's backside. This revolting device was a stick with a sponge attached to the end, used for wiping. Notably, this brush was reusable. It was soaked in vinegar or salt water, as it was believed this would disinfect it. The key feature is that the brush was communal, located in the center of a public toilet. Anyone could proudly use it after their bathroom visit. It obviously played a significant role in transmitting intestinal infections and parasites through fecal matter left on it. Was this significantly more accessible than using water? Unfortunately, no. The public toilets were used by the wealthy who had access to water. The brush was used simply because it was easier and more modern. How could the idea of making such a thing communal even come to mind? If you like this list, though it's better if you don't, subscribe to the channel. 5. Urine as face wash. Aside from its 100 different uses in medieval Europe, urine was used as a face wash simply because many people didn't have access to fresh water and perfumes. Why the smell of urine seemed appealing to them is a good question. The Romans believed the ammonia content of urine acted as a cleanser, so they used their urine not only to clean their faces, but also their clothes and even their floors. It's funny to imagine a Roman carrying out his daily chores. He wakes up, urinates in his hands, rubs it on his face, loads the laundry, urinates there, and then rinses his mouth with the same urine. The human body is an amazing thing, and in all its functions, it creates waste. Why people ever thought that using this waste in daily life was a good idea is a good question. 6. Unusual medicine. The Chinese had practical medicine skills. Even before Edward Jenner's discovery in the early 19th century, ancient China fought smallpox using the fight fire with fire method. They tried to develop immunity to the disease to reduce and eliminate the risk of infection. For example, a common method, especially among children, was to make them wear shirts of people infected with smallpox. But listen further. A more prolonged way to protect one's health was blowing a special powder into the nose of a healthy person through a tube. This peculiar mixture was made from smallpox scabs. The Chinese collected the crusts from the faces and bodies of the infected, ground them up, and stored them in special places for long-term storage. They would later place this powder into healthy people's bodies through their noses. I don't even know how to comment on this. It's known that this practice did not produce positive results, yet people actively sought to try these methods on themselves. 7. Roman energy drinks. If you were offered something with this name, would you drink it? Well, now you'll at least know what it was. Throughout history, athletes have been obsessed with the idea that eating or drinking something disgusting would make them stronger. Goat manure had an original use here. For instance, Roman athletes mixed it with vinegar, heated it over a fire, and drank it as an energy drink to boost their endurance. Writer Pliny noted that Emperor Nero himself especially valued this energy drink. If dried manure and vinegar weren't available, simple ash mixed with water would suffice. The effect wasn't the same, the taste was different, but it would do. According to gladiators, this drink eased recovery from wounds and gave them energy. And, I think, a really powerful breath. If you want more content like this, subscribe to the channel.